the opportunity, first of all, to sort of field your questions and share whatever I've learned. It's been a wonderful journey. I grew up almost my first 18 years in Ranchi, and a small town, yes, but no longer a small town, and it's been just wonderful. I think people I met with, school, college, those memories have really been part of my growing up years and my professional career. But it's been very fulfilling as a professional career and personal life as well. I have no regrets, and it's been just wonderful. I don't know if there's anything I would say as biggest achievement, but I think what I like about where I am today is that in the last 5 years, I think there's been a different level of self-awareness and the purpose that I'm trying to achieve, which is that sort of chalta hai attitude will not work anymore. Our indifference towards where we are as a country, as a nation, as corporate citizens or as citizens will not work. So I think that's been, I wouldn't say achievement, but I think it's been a moment of reckoning that continues to challenge me and change me and charge me, which is just about, how do we make ourselves a better place to be as a country, as a society. And that's what I felt that probably each one of us to engage, and that self-awareness has happened over the last few years. I would say this has been a defining moment of my career or my life so far. I think trend in marketing is sort of more built around trends in consumers, and if you see consumers, how they are evolved, they've changed. In the session today, we talked about asymmetry of information and how consumers have a lot more information, or at least as much information as a seller. So when the sellers and consumers are at parity with the knowledge of information or knowledge of information about the product, then clearly sales has changed, and that means service has changed, and that means marketing has to evolve. A lot more consumers today have access to information that they can share. The rise of social and with the ease with which social has led to sort of consumer talk about products. See, marketing, we have always understood word of mouth is the #1 lead gen mechanism. And as consumers have found digital sort of platforms, devices, they're creating an enormous amount of data around products and consumers you're selling as a marketer. That has been the biggest shift, that the power of control is no longer with the marketer. And the consumers have a lot more that they can define or break or make a brand. That's been the biggest shift. That's a great question, and that sort of, I don't have an easy answer. I thought if we have money as a country, we would have become a better nation, better society. It hasn't happened over the last 20 years. When I started my career and when I've been looking at my early years, we didn't have money in our country, we didn't have tax revenues, we hadn't opened up our economy. But since that has happened, no longer we can blame the lack of governance, the corruption in our societal liftment programs. The poverty in India is no longer a definition of we being a poor country in terms of resources or revenues or tax dollars or the government not having money. It's just a question of bad governance or misgovernance or lack of governance. And I think each one of us have to look beyond just what we stand for in terms of personal growth, success, financials, and have to start engaging, start sort of being indifferent about who we are as a country. I think that's the defining sort of point that I would like to request and persuade or sort of appeal for. I don't know what much my team, but I think what keeps me motivated is the fact that I'm learning new things. I'm able to challenge myself and learn newer things, and in the process meet some like-minded people, discuss new ideas. And being in India at this point is what sort of is very motivating, because there's a lot of change happening around me, around us. Some for good, some for not so good, and I'm happy to participate in that change and see how can we evolve. Make no mistake, I think in the next 20 years, India will be the best place to be, and we're already making that happen. I sometimes feel that not being in India for some years, I may have missed out on that opportunity. But I think now that I'm grounded here and I'm going to be here for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I have that opportunity to make that change in us as a country, or be part of the change. That's what motivates me, at least. And I try to share that with my team, but I don't know if I'm qualified to answer what's in it for my team. If you have intention to do something, I think you'll find time. I think there is a There's a video I saw on YouTube recently where he said, if you want to make that change, there are two things. One, your intention to make that change, and then commitment to make that change. It could be a personal hobby, interest, spend time with your family. And if you're committed towards, if you have an intention to do it, I think, and if the intention is genuine, you will be committed to finding time. If you don't find time, I think usually is an excuse. But I feel top executives, I think globally in the US and India, most of them do find time for their personal pursuits. They may not be very vocal about it, but if you do ask them, they would find time for their personal hobbies, interests. And that's fairly important because that rejuvenates them, their minds for sort of thinking about their professional careers or their day jobs or what they're ultimately responsible for in their sort of professional life. We failed as buddy entrepreneurs when I was 16, and in Ranchi we started a company. If any of my friends are watching this video who are from Ranchi, they'll remember we started a company and we failed because of various reasons. So it's been out there as a thing to do. I have nothing against working in a company either. I think it's just a question of personal choice, and you know the time has come. So I think it's a personal choice. It's not something which is a mantra for everybody, or whenever you're ready and you feel you have something to make change around you. When you're in a job, in a corporate company, you learn a lot, but there are some boundaries which are defined for you. I think ultimately when you go out, it's more risky, but the rewards are equally greater. So at times you have to say, what's my risk-reward profile? In the corporate job, corporate environments, you have less risk, less reward. So if you're guided by that philosophy, you can spend the rest of your life in a corporate job. But at times you feel, I'm now willing to take more risk and hence look for a larger reward. So then entrepreneurship is the call. One myth we have is that you have to work for 15-20 years before you start venturing out as an entrepreneur. And I think that's I think a larger, more difficult choice to make when you're successful as an executive. Your professional ego will come into play. I think it's easier to be an entrepreneur when you're young. So that would be my message to you, that if you're looking to do something of your own, maybe work for a couple of years, but don't wait for too long to jump and do something of your own. I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice, but I can share my learning that the rate of change is fast and it's getting faster. So the rate of obsolescence of your skills is also sort of fast and faster. It's getting faster. So the ability to be sort of unlearn on your success and your failures and build on new skills and newer sort of learning, that would be a key to your success in the future. So the ability to unlearn and learn. Learning is, we all understand what learning stands for, but unlearning is a different new skill that most of us are not taught, we're not sort of skilled towards it. It's a conscious effort to not let your professional experience or past success come into play. That I would feel is the one thing that you should be more focused on. If you're a young manager with 30 years of, or 35 years of runway,